Siasa mo akwa baby Amanyosem dwumadie na oguso ahwe original kasamfoni so ne sabre fa adwe atentam ha ne mpanyufo besi nkunya na omo so akire obadwe da meka say adwenkyira no so ka ho bi ni nyina ne say WhatsApp number ne da screen so no ya so be fa no send WhatsApp message ni na wo de abra wodin ni baby a wo free anytime bi abesend message ni bi afaka ho na yentumi kinkan emfa ema so ne Facebook live streaming no ahon so wo betumi a comment wo ho ma won say comment ni bi wo bre pan mekinkan na me de ama wo ene apani ani ni dwuma yenua Kingsley, Haruna, Amaliba, or your National Communication Team member at the Mad Opposition National Democratic Congress (NDC). Nankoni yenia kafui amega on National Communication Team member MPP and then komube di atintam. Then so kafui last minute was be asanka no dwuma de minti wantimi amabeka yensa. Yunia akwaba. Apo me de.
Emiadum odemi nkwache na so
jana do me das papa. Answer na beko the main issue which is Mampeni John Dramani Mahama address any MPP for response on the abano. Reporters without borders. Reporter batches say Ghana sharp deeper say yakoye chikura ya retrogress 17 years back. Say reporting about 100% reduce your rank no from 60 to 30%, and I say 60 to 30. I just say, Niaman Sheda Enkoye. Our report on that is it a true reflection about what is happening in Ghana when it comes to press freedom?
No. Unto me that my mawajona minchi abusia for ajebre ehwe yimre na minchi me party mpinifo ina so. So we share reporters beyond borders, right?
Yeah.
Ediabana relative to the press freedom in Ghana. I think the report on Krampon have been very magnanimous towards Ghana. That's my opinion. So we share a bro Mampini Kufuado, a bet na kunyasuna. Some of us have had a view that President Kufuado is a president in default. He should not have become president of Ghana in the first place. But as fate will have it, MPP for you say only nipa on betim the omonim. And eventually, against all objections and against all dissenting voices relative to the impossible assumption of him to the high seat of Ghana as a leader, they tried and used all machinations and brought him. And you don't need to forget that this report is also consistently from 2007, 2002, Ebanwa. Ghana drop lower at the time of MPP for ABM. And it doesn't happen by default. It happens because the MPP tout themselves as a paragons of democracy. Oh, okay, Bible, the book of Revelations 13. Hoka abua mwami unu hasemo ochiasie ene abua bia okuta different features. But on mention the third animal or the third beast, abuano nisu akoyese ujai or bebe mienu se ujai na mo kasa so ochiase. You know what that means? Nipa nisu ba nyina yese oyo hobrasini na mo ninsam bi afiri no mu ba no e oja. And you could see that clearly not only on the leadership of President Akufo-Addo as a president, but the assigns and people around him. You get it? Now, how many journalists? There are instances where journalists have been accidentally. I don't subscribe to any attack on anybody because of Nippon profession or practice. Of course, those of us who are political activists, because my cousin it is against my right, and I think it's not fair. You understand? Everybody should have the liberty to express his or her opinion and expressions and his views
and that is
freely,
democracy.
Devoid of intimidation. And that is democracy. And indeed, the expressions of that view must even go all the way to the heart of our city institutions, like the Supreme Court, for instance. There shouldn't be any instances so judiciary will take a decision. Be now citizen who express who view one. It may drag you to court for contempt. They said the Omode Unia or Hineba too long ago, based on perception. You understand? So there are accidental attacks on journalists which are condemnable. But in the case of Mampeni Akufo-Addo, It is well planned, well designed, well orchestrated attempt, how do we call it, attacks on journalists. That is very, very unfortunate and need to be condemned. Look at a series of journalists who have been brutally assaulted and some have even lost their lives during Omampine Kufuor's time. Amaliba, for instance, as a journalist, one of the key responsibilities is to hold the government accountable to ensure that state resources are not wrongly applied. And also, journalists are anti-corruption crusaders, anti-corruption agent, which exposes the weaknesses of the system to the public and urges the public to punish the regime through their vote. Because Mr. Kwame Mpianim when Africa Watch interviewed him, I think far back in 2012, or say the good antidote for bad governance is the fear for losing power. He said, "Oh, yeah, by now, so now to say, 2 minutes free ones are that who will trigger you to do the right thing." But Omampine Kufuor, relative or contrary to the promises to fight corruption, upon assumption of office as a president, have become the promoter and enabler of corruption and have turned around by using all means to stifle dissent and to also crack down any opposing forces are between him and the perpetration of corruption in his government. And that is a challenge. You get it? So it is not out of place that in line of duty, Amaliba was brutally murdered. And sadly, after the murder of Amaliba, almost 4 or 5 years into the murder, no justice for him. And before Amaliba was murdered, to the extent that they have even obtained an international recognition, they have won an international award, they have been contracted to do investigations in many countries within Africa and sometimes beyond the continent. And I think it was a pride of Ghanaian journalists for the feat they attained. And for that matter, they were taking Ghana as a country, the image of Ghana to another level. They were held in high esteem from previous government. I think under Kufuor time, Announce was working. He worked through Professor Meres. He worked through Mahama. And all these years, nobody set out to castigate or to have a problem with Nejuma Noye, simply because a contribution, this scale or what, or also or deploy to ensure that society moves in the right directions, and therefore leadership are cautious about mandate not to abuse the power, not to breach the rules ought to apply as leaders. But President Kufuor, what happened? They set out a scheme against Anas and his guys, apart from the murder of how do you call it?
But because you who say Abana, I can be HSA prevent Anas from.
I have referred you to the assigns and the agent of the government. But apart from the murder of Amaliba, being the one who sat on radio, so television, no day, Amaliba picture, I do 2 screens which say, this is the guy, Fred Amaliba, or your bad boy, or Mombono, Biba, Metria. And within less than 1 month, the guy was shot dead.
7 months.
Okay, 7 months, the guy was shot dead. Up to today, in fact, he even said it on radio or on TV, on his network. So and I'm wondering why the state investigative agencies are not taking interest on all these matters. And he's still working there, saying things which are even worse than that. And you recall, this Joy FM journalist Erasmus Asardonko, right? During the Ajula fallout of military deployment, the aftermath of event, look at a Nyoma in Japan, threat or issue here on Erasmus Asardonko, and finally claim that NDC is planning to kill a journalist that he threatened. What happened? So if you have a government that is in office threatening journalists, using their members of parliament. A member of parliament, and not just a member of parliament too. Or he is the chairman of the parliamentary security committee. You understand? Or my bambo cool, I want to say with you, or the committee, or no, and that on no dream training. And he have the obscene effrontery to threaten journalists to the extent that some have been murdered. Besides that, look at national security. Omokochi, is it Kalikuda, right? Is it Kalikuda?
Kalikuda, yeah.
Kalikuda of
City FM.
According to Amanyosem on radio, NACT TV, he was tortured when he was arrested. Simply because we're taking videos, Omufi said he shouldn't have taken. But if a journalist are taking videos, Omufi said, and yet appropriate for him to have taken those videos now, that warrant beating, isn't it? Apart from one, Philippa the T, Bonabena Philippa the T, why investigating corruption activities in relation to Galamsey or Moya in Upper East? The resultant consequences was that assassins were sent to his house to go and assassinate him. You have to run and leave his family behind. Well, Bobby answer, Captain Smart and others. So there has been a conscious attempt under this regime not only to crack down freedom of speech, but to ensure that journalists will live in perpetual fear. And by virtue of putting such fear in journalists, they will not be able to come out and speak freely and to expose the ills in the system. And all these things, it is well calculated, a well-designed mechanism put in place by President Akufo-Addo to ensure that the dictatorship as a leader, he will be able to unleash it fully on the people and get away with it. But I think that we as citizens, it's up to us to rise up to the defense of the Constitution. To rise up to the defense.
Some Ghanaians also believe, yes, there are some infringement subject to some media houses or journalists to some personal abuse, professional abuse to Omakas or Mukaria. But some Ghanaians also feel Obi abetumi akane mo NDC for because they feel most personal. 1 or 2, 3 issues happen. I chase somehow element of government officials abuse journalists.
You see, I am not saying that NDC is a group of angels. I'm not saying that. That is why I made a point say they are accidental attacks on journalists, which I think is wrong. Nobody should suffer. Under no circumstances should anybody suffer by virtue of the practice of an independent profession. In any case, what government have been more tolerant to journalists than NDC? Even if our detractors are to even claim that there were accidental attacks on journalists or abuse of journalists during NDC's era. But by and large, to the very large extent, ratings such as Reporters Beyond Borders for ratings Habano, NDC score higher. And interestingly, the highest score was under President Mahama. You get it? That was 2014, 2015. That was the time we scored highest. And even globally, Ghana's image as a robust democracy continued to flare during the days NDC was in office. You get it? Why is it that at this moment we have declined sharply? It is not by accident that this decline have occurred. It is as a result of deliberate attacks on journalists to the extent of some of journalists being murdered. That's what we are talking about. Abandon Kofag, Operation Gallant Stop, Edibai. Say, Ghana for Mwano, na Yankuntia Galam Seni Unsua, yes, no, and indeed, for the first time, all the political divide, when NDC was in office and similar issue confronted us, MPP sat on the fence and even used it as a political tool against us. But when they assumed office and decided to go on a full scale to deal with the matter, we didn't sit on the fence. We came out and supported them. Okay. And we encourage it. Say, along the line, journalists say, we are going to go to the hinterland with our cameras and expose the kingpins. What happened to those journalists? What happened to them?
Before we move on to another issue, how do you feel, say, Manasa Zuri in 2016, when or year signed for the expedition a year undercover, our no by indicted the former president John Dramani Mahama, though Strat report about clear no. Most of NDC elements, you're sure say by that time you yourself you didn't like that report to me by. And then Manasa Zuri is saying say, oh, a dangerous reportage under NDC. He never felt threatened on his life, but a worse about it. How do you feel?
Well, I think that
because he didn't like a Juma year in 2016, and they will praise him. How do you feel?
it is a hypocritical and sycophantic confession coming from Manasseh Zuri. That's the way I see personally. Because in fact, I strongly believe that in any case, why Manasseh Zuri? NPP have a policy. If you want to destroy a Northerner, use his brother. And when President Mahama was in office, NPP decided to recruit some Northern boys and use them against the regime and against the personality of President Mahama. And they are still using it. It is in furtherance of that diabolical objective. And I'm recruiting Manasseh Zuri. In fact, we are aware.
So are you alleging say Manasseh Zuri was recruited?
I am not alleging. This is a public knowledge. He was recruited, and he knows that he was recruited.
How?
He knows he was recruited.
How?
Well, let me explain myself.
How?
Let me explain myself. We know people who sponsored Manasseh Zuri to do those kind of things.
Who sponsored Manasseh Zuri?
Oh, you don't want me to give you names.
Who sponsored Manasseh Zuri? So if NPP sponsored Manasseh Zuri, how come all of a sudden 2017 NPP take you over and then what turning? So now that Manasseh Zuri exposing another Akufo-Addo and his government, who is sponsoring him?
But you see, he is not exposing Mampini Akufo-Addo. No. He's an embittered person. That's the way I see him. Because he thinks that the package I'm promising, they haven't fulfilled it. And don't forget, one day in the houseboy to come here down with him. I don't want to mention certain names. But you see, the truth is, Manasseh Zuri deliberately set out to destroy President Mahama. To me, I had a challenge about the fourth expedition issue about him. I had a challenge about it. If I were the information minister at that time, I would have brought Kanazoe to Ghana, organized a press conference, and let him tell his version of the story to the people of Ghana. And Kanazoe shouldn't have ended it there. He should have proceeded to court and sue Manasseh Zuri for defamation. Because to allege that an innocent contractor sitting somewhere have paid a bribe to the president of the republic, this is unethical, and it is a sacrilege. And it's a violation of a sacred seat of the republic, especially the higher office of Ghana. That is my view. But what happened? One not confirm and confirm issues by say and confirm to Burkina Faso, which MPP took it and they are still hanging on to it. Say President Mahama, the Sikama say Yenkodua in Pebrem in 2014. Contrary to City News report by UDS research Amoye, so over 85% of Enrio Mudia survived, but they still use it today against President Mahama. Who did those works? It was Manasseh Zuri who did that. Has he been able to provide a tangible report to buttress allegations of making Nana? No. But I think that it is part of the occupational hazard that you need to suffer as a politician. And all these things were done to support MPP. And unto what they use some hatchet people to do when they were in opposition. And now they don't want to suffer the same fate.
Why is it that
they must go?
Why is it that you believe it said Manasseh Zuri Jumoye in 2016 against you or party? And for that matter, if we say political opponent, repeat the benefit of it. And if we say he was sponsored by the MPP party then. But then come here say Manasseh needs some working. And the NDC Mahama, he did the worst dangerous works one feel threatened, but he feels his life is under threat. Can we also say and Nisama okay, it's indictment on the Kufuor's government. That is per your own logic. Is NDC also behind Manas Azuri?
No one is behind anything. But you see, he is expressing the general fear in the system as far as journalism is concerned.
This is a genuine.
It's a genuine. In fact, it exists.
So where they are genuine?
It exists.
Where they are genuine?
It exists.
Okay.
Do you get it? And yet, Bibia, you see, when the venerable Dr. Sam Jonah, in a public lecture, I think, is it early this year or later about? Is it early this year? Last year, right? Good. He spoke about the creeping reoccurrence of the culture of silence. Government didn't take it lightly. You get me? Government didn't take it lightly. But with time, the emergence of circumstances in the system have vindicated him. And the ratings are abano. It's a clear manifestation of the existing situation Dr. Samduna spoke about. Okay. Do you get it? And this Manase Zure Eka or can because a Juma any abanya or ye Juma ma do mo ba ye no. Sa ban na twa no ho e penawe no. Okay. He has read a monster and that monster have become so fat and is lacking its teeth to consume him. And he's now running to the people of Ghana seeking the cover. And the Numa Oyano, he's crying for public sympathy. Okay. Do you get it? Okay. And yes, okay, because he is being genuine here per se, but he is feeling for himself. Oh, say Nigeria for proverbs say so who slave who ni yonko say you're too shallow grave near Kana Shemua. You should know that when a day will come on also be caught in that way. And until a true aka ameswale. Who can tell who will go next? God forbid. So he's crying for himself. Okay. And I sympathize with him for that.
Mami can message back you know Facebook na fe yentwa so awa yenua wise fight Amasaman or do you say I will share live from United States of Amasaman constituency and our me at the Aba. Is it United States of Amasaman? I see. And your damn boy, but the United States account, the boy, Dambo Koso, move $2. We are there. Yenua Pedro so Medina was watching you live was clear inside Indianapolis Tessano and on also at the Abba Tessano Unia as Papa me receive you message we do comment on this platform that's pass hopefully you may Yenu Musa Abato Kumaso was every visionary leader owes himself a challenges and works to fix them. That's why GM did during Doomsop and not pointing fingers and blaming opponent, but Akufo-Addo and Bawumia are running away from responsibility and blaming COVID-19 and Russia and Ukraine invasion. That's an example of clueless and visionless leaders. Now, Ghana dropped unprecedented in the World Press Freedom Index 2022. Even Burkina Faso, under military rule, has performed better than Ghana. Greetings to lawyer Evans Abankwa. You know the Abba. That's the funny side of it. Burkina Faso. Don't forget, say okay, Burkina Faso military rule nation say last year. Yeah, according to reports, they say Burkina Faso crown and Central 4 for the Usa Soja 4 and they do a man so Burkina Faso who on Central 4 for who they said the Ghana you see what ministry of Simon bit no message there. Now let's move on. President John Dramani Mahama. Ghana at a crossroad. You want to say the version of the state of the national kind of state of the economy. And as I said, the president could deliver State of the Nation's address the version. We're raising issues who do be pre. We're making assurance be including repealing e-levies and DC for taking over the bar. Now President Mahama is saying some bar. Mubet me are creating such a way say public sector workers, you know, a better run 3 shifts, 8 hours, number upon now we swap by 24 hours, you know, to me a year juma. With all this, make can say convincing address I will deliver, you know. How do you justify it per your past records?
And some man penny that Mahama de Kotuja, work in Pisky, we tell last Monday now. One cancer for phobia. ensemo a sabi Ghana fo enim dada na mom no otwe adwene asiso ama yahunu empempenso amampeni Akufo-Addo ye de o mine hye ne nsa baby Ghana ne yewo obedi ade so mampeni baby ode aba begina sisi a ene se ye koye nim no baby ode ye eko na ya nhwe yie na ya nkyena nyina ho a baby ode ye bewie no yeni ema ye ho so no enkyiri ma ebeba no bebo ye nyina sobo eno nti se do kan poto kasem no say eba na mambu a it is not sitting on the fences is not the option at a given point in time also be a man and like you have to speak your mind so that at least the leadership of the day be who say baby omo kono it is wrong, and if they listens and reverse quickly and listen to the people and then be modest enough no apply the right mechanisms it will help to salvage all of us as a country. What is so unique about the NDC and for that matter the leadership of President Mahama is saying he did not only seek to use the incompetence, the mismanagement and the bad governance and poor leadership skills of Mampeni Akufo-Addo as a political trump card to court public sympathy for vote in the future elections, but or take the opportunity and occasion to advise the government and tell them, say, Mamamo about 13 steps as a binary, no more apply bricks, no more decide no more juma. After all, you bet to me and your home kakra. Why not? We have offered our party manifesto to them because although the manifesto came as a result of NDC initiative to collect the ideas from Ghanaians, which form the basis of the manifesto they call election 2020. Now, election 2020, regardless of whatever happens, we say MPP are buying a Akufo-Addo to us. If you run out of ideas, you are at a liberty to copy the NDC manifesto. No ideas a woman who dey juma. A B and they can say, why? I didn't know say as on mine you call juma 8 to 5 near pong unless the following day 8 to 5 you. No, we can create 3-stream economic system and run it 8-hour shift. Production will continue, productivity will continue to go on, and also you better create space for people to be employed. It's a brilliant idea. The government can adopt it. $1 billion Ejumapa project, the government can adopt it. The 10 billion big push investment in infrastructure, the government can adopt it. The free TV, the government can adopt it. The national apprenticeship program, the government can adopt it. Even the free duty on, how do you call it, commercial vehicles it will enable people to import cars in the course of that they can pay duties to the government or they can pay tax to the government. There are so many ways government can raise revenues instead of sticking to this one-sided taxation. The only option for this government, but it appears that for the past 6 years, they are not able to think outside the box and bring a new and innovative idea and relief Beba. I went to my archives. Now me question some kakrebi about Mampeni Akufo-Addo and the promises are. Onua can be na bedi echire Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia so can be and the shadow prime minister in the regime Gabi Ocheda Akosuso can be. And for your kind permission, I mean really bibi kakra wa ha mfanche yeti yahwefo ne yetifo. So wo hwe we 2nd December 2015 exactly 11 that's the 12:21 p.m. Tia Sama Muhammadu Bawumia kan on a Twitter handle. NDC has resorted to increasing taxes under economic difficulties they created. An MPP government would do differently. Do you get it? This is at a time where Omo condemn say any kwan say Omampeni na as abino eje to and hear him again on 18 November 2014 or saying, I worked at the Bank of Ghana before. I am telling you, we can develop Ghana without borrowing. The money is there. You get it? And to Mampeni Akufo-Addo, no, recent to Mampeni Akufo-Addo, Abra Olusu Aban in 2012 2013 abra Supreme Court the verdict in the buy no ofri Ghana ha eco US Europe, I think UK to be precise. No ko share MPP4 chapter or MPP chapter UK Ireland. No mun komodi mu no ti asem o kan yi, and I'm going to read this in all. Listen to what he said carefully. Was saying every city that is stolen means a child being denied education, a farmer being denied fertilizer, a driver not getting good road, and the sick being left to die. I fear for Ghana. I am frightened about the future the NDC is building for the young people of this country. It is a future of indebtedness, a future of hopelessness. It is a wretched future being needlessly created by a reckless government. The prospect of another 4 years of this scares me, and so it must scare you too. 12 straight years of NDC will leave you, the young people of Ghana, with no future of note. The danger of such a future has already started. It can be seen in the fact that oil-producing Ghana has had to run to the IMF for a bailout. The world just doesn't understand what is happening to Ghana. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Now, in fact, there are a lot. I don't want to go further because of time. Looking at that someone this is the future of indebtedness the NDC is creating. The future of hopelessness, the future of unemployment, the future of, in fact, in effect, there was absolutely no future. The empty future the NDC was given. According to President Akufo-Addo, as some kind of know, before he became president, over Babem, that Ghana near 120 billion. Right? And then, I could do 410 billion. Waya banya 500 billion Ghana cedis as part of grants, as part of revenue generations, as part of loans and other sources of revenues. About Amanyosem, 500 billion under the Fourth Republic. So come and penny mako and 9 from Rawlings Kufuor, Atamres Mahama, Ebom, Omabesenko. Now don't know Kwajilan Chaya. Wanya Japade chance abaya betwem na. But see what Rawlings did with the little resources he had. Omampena Kufuor by, look at what he did. We can talk about the Jubilee House. He built it. We can talk about the KGTR, how do you call it, Confederation Emergency Center. He built it. You understand? And we can also talk about the N1 highway. It's Kufuor legacy. There are few projects we can talk about. The Odo drain, for instance, he built it. A solvent drainage, how do you call it? Perennial flooding, Alajo and its environs. Kufuor built it. Now, Omampeni Mers Ebaye, there are things we can also remember him about. Professor Mahama Sobetwaso, there are things we can also remember and relate to him. Empokras we are supposed to be na. Onyankopo him yananim. Ghana for bit media dance say this is a new man mampeni inform media on my name no. Already on by your mama no. Omampeni Akufo-Addo dey be kai no. I have said it and I'll repeat it again. Omampeni Akufo-Addo na topa ho hia ne cha o man no. Yeah, of course, because I am so shocked. And
what is that?
And a brand here friend say, Yaboabia Samoa. He's a communication director of NPP, right? He should be ashamed of himself.
Why?
Yes. I am not surprised Kennedy Japan was on him a few days ago. You are fighting Mahama because he has spoken and expressed the frustration Ghanaians are going through. Before we came on set, Mechao tomatoes in Ketinkete Mako 4, 10 cities. Is that right? Some tomatoes now, open 5 cities are, you two, you try half in their total amount, you 5 cities.
You mean say and tomatoes you try half?
You try half.
Tomatoes?
Yes. You two near half. Ghana ha.
Market bay.
Now you don't go Jomana.
Market bay.
What Jama Busa Baumeso no come at market.
When I work and tuna bit much market bay and person
Masa. Now market bay turn to Sukruma.
What is a market bay?
Market bay turn to Sukruma. I went to Kumasi over the weekend. I just so.
You try tomatoes.
I am telling you, you eat tomatoes too near half at also 5 cities. That is the level we have gotten to.
Okay.
What ho? Masewa Bruni Abe making damn allegations about the government and about the president himself. All of you were quiet. On the side, they couldn't talk. But
Shrad is investigating that matter.
They had the gut and the impudence the impudence of a dying cockroach, the arrogance of power to come out and vent their anger on President Mahama. Without
were you expecting something, President Mahama, former President Mahama, be deliver over 1.5 hour address, no? Almost every sector of the economy or touch here. Almost every government element or here involved when it comes to the management of the economy is involved or touch will be no. Were you expecting to say MPP as a party should just let it go like that?
You see, when you are coming to respond, bring your facts. Bring your facts.
Fact, Omodiabani bin say, NDC promised one-time premium national insurance scheme in 2008 election. Yadi abadama mono. Yamaka ani say ukra ma councilman way man to me anye. Now you are promising e-levy. According to them, your manifesto 2020 what can be about electronic transaction levy. Almost say enwani e-levy no. And he said, "Never so be terminate and the other now person will share our manifesto."
NDC never promised electronic transaction levy. We never promised.
That what did you promise in your manifesto?
In fact, I don't have the copy of the manifesto with me here, and I'm sorry I cannot quickly recall what exactly that passage said. But it talks about a fees. Okay, it was written to a uniform fees from the state institution. That was
who are those going to pay those fees?
Okay, so call your passport or your fees. You get it. Maybe call your birth certificate or your fees. There are fees you pay to state institutions when you access their services. You understand? Good. Like I said, once I don't have the manifesto here, I cannot relate to that quickly. But it is not the uniform, how do you call it? Electronic transaction levy we were promising. Now, we promise to pay, we promised one-term premium for election 2008. But when we came to office, we couldn't implement it. We have given explanations to that. Before Kufuor left office, he signed the single span salary structure editor. No funds was made available for that. And for instance, when that pay policy, that single span pay policy was rolled out, it led to an astronomical increase in the public wage bill. And we realized that as government, there are sacrifices that need to be made. And for you to be able to roll out some of the promises you made, particularly about the national health insurance, we need to build the structure before we look at that. And first of all, we need to streamline the system. Obeka say, okay, was say and to tia a bit mass system there. You're building it proper. Don't forget that Kufuor left about Kufuor before Kufuor before Bemuno. No jaka at at all. And mind you, it was a mutual insurance. NDC came and gave it national in character. And even passed a law. And build the fact that, so if we know, I'll be the card, not the ambassador, and you can still access medical services. You understand? So, although we did not, or we were unable to give the one-time premium payment, but we built a system so robust, after the time of Yifra Bemuno, health insurance was working. Now, as we speak, a binary GG scan over the last 1 year or more, health insurance levies and co. Have they talked about that? And they're coming to tell us that you can say one-term premium and therefore the levies.
But that's a fact.
You see,
that's a fact. That's a fact. Someone promised one-time premium.
But you see, what did MPP tell us? In any case, to even compare
but
the
you should be humble enough to admit that you made that promise.
You know something?
But went to me.
You know something? For even to relate the e-levy argument to national health insurance one-term premium promise, it's an immoral argument in the first place. You know why?
By your record?
This is a levier. I received the unanimous disapproval and outright rejection by the people. You get me? And even after they have even used all Machiavellian means to push it through, the people are still resisting it. I remitted news from one of the networks. Omo interview vendors and some more can say, a man from Obahono, Omo first can be 2 more hours to be more. And you withdraw them Kofugus withdraw musica. You understand? And that tells you clearly that the people
after 1 or 2 months they will go back.
Are you sure? We live to see. But it does not and cannot negate the fact that Ghanaians have rejected it. You understand? Ghanaians have rejected it. And adrifting you back to the cash system, and you try to say, we will live with e-cash and cashless system, and you build that system or that feature you attained over the years, have been wiped away by virtue of this implementation.
But this for Mokase e-levy, abide the internet and you bring an say or pursue the secretarize and also the collateralize and the cocoji loan. They said the energy sector levy 2035 no konoban. Is it true? Is it true?
Yeah. Okay.
Now, say no cry. Now, most of mobile 2025, so mutie number 2025, mobile ye samra no e-levy, mobile chum de fro. So government in collateralize the kwaji loan. Now say a go beyond 2025. How are you going to repeal it?
Look, I even doubt whether even when making an attempt now, they'll have their way.
Okay, so be approve it. Why introduce it? Who's want me approve it? Why approve it? Now, why implement your air cost? What's the bar? Would you be 2025? So we back to me about chum. Say abai the kokosi awa. Ekwa jebosia say the energy sector levy akosi awa na de jebosia anti be twema akwa 2035 ansana awie no a. How kwambe na mo be fa so to atwam. Ana agency say so ye be twam na sebase abana collateralize kwaje loan a maka so ye ka se e be twam na so ye bae no abana da kwaje bosia ye hu hwe enye.
I don't think that should be the argument.
Now then be argument.
Because at the moment, yate, so almost they are going to almost kosia owa no more Bosnia. Fine. We are waiting to see. When that move begins, we will see how to confront it. But at the moment, start here. What we believe, this e-levy is an immoral levy. It's a to bottom levy.
Let's assume,
and therefore
said Mokaya, who put to a mobile Mancasa West. So one is so more the Kwaku see Kuya what they are called Bosia. So I'm no Kwaje Bosia. The same way, or Mutimi approve, maybe the same way, but my first will approve. Or many Kwaje Bosia, not Besian go beyond 2025 and I say this about power. How are you then going to repeal it?
But let's even take it. Presumably, let's grant this. Omode Kosi Bosia, they said here, Omode Esla, they condemned Esla in opposition, but Omoba, Omode Esla, Ede Kosi Awa, I think Ebekwe in 2035. You get me? I think
sure.
By the next 15 years or so, we will still have to pay. If e-levy is used to collateralize to take a loan, now, the question will be like, what will be the alternative options that will be open to government? To the extent that government can generate revenues from that source. And don't forget, President Mahama gave options. The larger percentage of the mineral revenues are being saved outside the jurisdiction, which always makes it difficult for our currency to gain the needed strength against the major currencies leading to the constant depreciation of the cedi. Now, will there be a possible option that even if government repeal the e-levy act, we can generate resources from that side to pay for the loan that the collateralization of the e-levy have occasioned in the system or in the public financial management system? I think the answer is yes. The answer is yes. Because, of course, we still have a lot of resources at our disposal, which I believe that if it was properly harnessed through prudent management, we wouldn't need the e-levy even in the first place. Don't forget that we've been pushed to this point because the government have badly mismanaged the economy. And we've been rejected from the international investor community. Within the next 2-3 years, government cannot go to the international market to raise bonds because investor community are running away from your bonds. That's why government entering call international market and raise bonds. Then what will be the option? My member fear, and the sad part of it all is that over 500 billion Ghana cedis akwa buy no hono. We more use any part of Sabani for investment in capital infrastructure. Okay. Because some build the capital infrastructure as part of the scope of economic activities. I believe that by now, those activities, those infrastructure would have been generating income for us, like the Terminal 3, like the Bank Hospital, University of Ghana Medical Center, and others, including the High Court Complex. And now, a lot of Ghanaian youth have been employed. At the end of the day, they earn income, they have sustainable jobs, and they are able to pay taxes to the state.
You as Andy's business in the sense, say, or call it for the head of a finance minister. To the sense that we'll call it for the can say dissolution of a economic management team being headed by the vice president. What is your business? My business in the sense.
Yes, your
because
business.
The president trusts these two individuals for handling the
your
economy.
Your business is very simple. Ken Oforiatta have proven to be a monumental disaster and the worst finance minister ever witnessed in the continent. The continent of Africa. He's the worst. And no two ways about that. Yeah. Obetina kunywa so mampini kufu na mami nua ba o tam na be si ho a ode Ghana sika semina asherensa. E bad no waye. Adwuma watinya bo ho pa. Aso mampini kufu do ani eye 2. Number 1, wagun krofo adwuma. Makineku, Sedu Agongo, Dr. Dufour, Dr. Indum. Eno omo eka ho no wagu omo nwuma nyina. To the extent that and the state insurance company SIC are responsible for insuring state agencies and the national asset. Some businesses in Nano, Eco Enterprise Group war. I think Human Resource Department of Ghana Water Company, or more, is it Heritage Towers, right? And the Heritage Towers is a building owned by government of Ghana. In the whole Omo rent. Therefore, the government of Ghana. When you say, according to report, yes,
what report? According to what?
According to report, I think Loud Silence Media, Mami Kansa.
Hold on. Loud Silence Media is a media institute, and I say media house. On a report or one, I have not cited that report, so I'm afraid we can't because who are GBB based on that issue, but I cannot prove it because I've never cited that report.
Very well. Then it is alleged. It is alleged that Kenoforiata at the advantage place, Ewa North Rich, were renting the amount the Human Resource Department of, is it VRA or GRA? So I'm moving coho. So they will pay rent to him.
It's alleged.
Agency. It's alleged. If that allegation is true, then what are we seeing? And don't forget Kenoforiata, Dr. Otabel, someone Obama just a few days ago, that if a leader becomes immoral leader is a liability to the state. Because, so you'll be a pen ma, or beja man for using the leaders, the position of the man. So you'll be greedy to say the are, or you'll be using the greed in the agent for your party. And we've seen that, how people's properties have been illegally taken from them. And until Ken Oforiatta have superintended over this dead hole that we are all witnessing. Because he has proven that he's an incompetent finance minister. He doesn't have any idea about how to turn things around. And Nakonya what is there's supposed to be a new idea to occupy that seat.
In 2 more minutes, also, why do you envy Baumia's position as head of economic
we don't envy Baumia. After all, we are fallen down from the ivory tower of economic guru and economic messiah. We just a poster boy of economic mismanagement. So who envy poster boys? Nobody envies him. But on one and no in the dibuna tewaha. My reading the post kakrama waha. If you will, I can still give you more.
2 more minutes.
I can still give you more. About Sama, His Excellency Alhaji Muhammadu Bawumia Ekaye, before the elections, way May 25th, May 2015, Tia Sama Okaye was saying, I really feel sad this morning for the ordinary Ghanaian, the hard-working people who have to endure the insensitive decision to increase fuel prices at this time. Sometimes what kind of fuel price are you saying? Now 1 liter of fuel by the time I end this April in the year 2016. was 3.999. That was the fuel price. Minimum wage, na 8 cedis at the time. Which means, say Ghanaian worker call Juma 1 day, the minimum wage, a bit more to 2 liters of fuel. At the same time, a baker sika a bit more to sachet water bag baku 2, a coffee no bush and then 1 liter of fuel, 10 Ghana cedis. Minimum wage, 13 cedis. Compare it. Where is the state of the Ghanaian worker today? So Alhaji Mahamudu Bawumia, who expressed his sympathy to the Ghanaian worker, that he feels sad for the people who are to endure the hardship in the system at the time under President Mahama, at the time of the fuel price, Ghana was 18 Ghana cedis. And then under one 10 years as the economic management team leader, and the fuel turn say, you turn 46, 47 Ghana cedis. And you think we are envying Bawumia? Nobody's envying him. But he has failed as economic management team.
I remember coming to my main kind message about community and Sebi. Yenuya Kwaku Abebrese Ejeosi Ayiko Yadasi. Yenuya Olamide Michael, so share live from Libya. And what they Abba. Nanafia Uchina Ayo birthday. Nanafia happy birthday in advance. Bonfire is Uchini Yawo, as I am a crada, I will celebrate your birthday. A radenya de Cassie na wish ya nipa a friend Yawa, and I say ya what they are kind of. So happy birthday in advance. Now, Memfa Arahusem, Memfa Quenya wishes so Emma a year, Mian Casama Cocrana Mini Juma, away Muntia from a manson for Nanaya Pache, and Bosco, Medi Chairman. And net wadane bin kumusu tuwa ni mo manso funa na ya kwacho of Radio Gold Multi FM Fame and net opening na dan bin kumusu mabusuafo nyina ahye ne abusuafo nyina ya kona ense chere mpo nyankopon se wonfa ne kra ensie baby pa nonya asumbi dwumadi ha ne bi esie nua eye Kingsley Amaliba Haruna eye NDC National Communication Team member ye nua eye Amega Kafuya na wantumi amba ochina be se nsa betumi akana na me dwumadi o cha me abuso for Samon to the captain of the dress should be my